and welcome to Creating in Color, sharing the creative endeavors of people of color. I'm your host, Kaybe, and today we speak with Allison Mick, a writer whose past works include Kite Man, Hell Yeah, Trailer Park Boys, Big Ass Comic Collection, and her debut novel, Humboldt Cut. How are you today, Allison?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for asking.
Happy to be
So,
on the pod.
oh, I'm so happy to have you on the pod, especially since you're going through such a big moment right now with your book, and I'm so excited to get into that.
Oh, thank you.
How would you describe being a writer for anyone who, for some reason, doesn't know, but also just from your perspective? What does being a writer mean to you?
Sure. I think of it in terms of like being an artist where you just have like all of this stuff inside of you. And if you don't let it out, like something bad's going to happen. Like, I got to get this out of me. And like when you're not, like I've always like written stuff down, like every little piece of paper, like ever since I was a little kid, just like scribbling, writing. And I'm like a very like verbal person, better on the page than like talking, but there are things that I have to get that are inside me that I have to get outside of me, and that sort of like transformation from like from internal to external, I think that's like what makes you a writer. But I also don't want to be prescriptive because like if you think you're a writer, you're probably a writer. So
That's true. That's true.
but I think most writers like are like, oh, I'm not a real writer because I'm not published or I haven't sold anything. It's like, no, if you're a writer is someone who writes. If you write, you're a writer.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you always know you wanted to be a writer?
No, it's like growing up like queer or trans, like I kind of always knew that this was like, there were so many like messages in the world about like how it's not realistic or it's not like a real job. So I ended up going to law school because they're like, oh, if you like to write, you should go to law school and then you can get paid lots of money to write. And that's not writing. That's arguing. It's different.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you that like when you actively move away from like the thing that you feel like you're meant to do, that's like a trauma in itself, and it like can be very damaging because like after law school, like I couldn't read for pleasure for like 6 years because I was just like getting like panic attacks of like start reading something, oh my god, something's due, like I have to write. Like that's how I got into stand-up, was like it's writing without having to like write.
Yeah. How was your stand-up career? Like, what really got you into it?
I've always loved stand-up, and like I was like 11 and like watching Comedy Central, like sneak down to watch it late at night, and like watch like Maria Bamford and like Margaret Cho on like Premium Blend. And I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, I love this. Like, both my parents are very funny. And like, my dad took me to go see George Carlin like 6 months before George Carlin died. So I just like, stand up and comedy has always been like a part of my life, but actually like trying to do it as an endeavor and as a job is very like, it's the artist's life. It's not easy, and it's not a 9 to 5, and it's not something that you have like an HR department or like any kind of oversight over.
Right.
But I loved it. The Bay Area comedy scene is really great, and there's so many good comics that come out of there, like smart comics, like just like very funny people. And it was a great arts community and like art scene to be part of, even if like all scenes, it's got like everyone's got beef with each other, and like everybody, like I grew up going to punk shows and it's like all the same shit, like who's mad at who.
Right, exactly. As you started learning and following your writing passion, did you know you were going to end up in the entertainment industry, working as a script writer?
I started as a script writer before getting into books because a lot of like the older comedians who were like mentoring like younger comedians were like, oh, I finally got a manager, and they asked me if I have any scripts and I don't. So they would like pass on that information, like here's what a treatment is, here's what a script is, here's how you pitch stuff. And honestly, like when like older comics got a manager and told me like you need to have this stuff ready, I started writing e-shows and like trying to like figure out how to tell a story, because it's very different than like being on stage of just like, I need to command your attention for the 7 minutes that I'm up here, or like 10 or 15 or however long. And telling a story is like, you need to command the attention like every second their eyes are on the screen. And it's a very different form of storytelling and like communication even. I've always bumped up against comedy as like a didactic medium, especially because a lot of stand-up is like, I look like this, but it's also like that. Like you're playing with the audience's expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And I would come up and be like, I'm half black, crackers, gotcha. Like, there's one of us. Like, I would play with my white passingness in a way that I thought was very funny, but audiences did not like. And that is fair to them, I guess.
You surprised them too much. You're like, wait a second.
I think audiences don't like being called crackers for some reason, which is weird. Because it's so funny. It's got the K sound twice. But yeah, my comedy was very like confrontational and racial, and like it was funny, but it also was like I was trying to engage with subjects that were bigger than maybe a comedy crowd wanted to hear about on a Sunday night right before they have to go back to work. So screenwriting really opened up a world to me of like, by not being constrained by being the person who has to say it out loud. Like, oh, there's so much more that I can say and so much more I can do and so many more topics and like realms that I can choose.
I never even thought about it that way. Thank you. And
yeah,
what made you want to switch over to novel writing from screenwriting?
It was procrastination.
Oh, okay.
I wrote this book. I wrote Humboldt Cut as a movie script. It was like my first feature script. I was reading a book about it was like a nonfiction book about this guy who went nuts up in British Columbia and chopped down this like very, very important tree. And then the Native American population there and the logging company and everyone was like searching for him to like get him for cutting down this golden spruce. And then he disappeared because he was going to kayak to his court date, kayak to the island where the court date was, and found his kayak wrecked on the beach. So some people think he died, some people think he faked his death and is like living in the woods somewhere. And the book's called The Golden Spruce by John Valiant, and I didn't know anything about logging before that, but there's this whole chapter about logging deaths, and I was like, this is a horror movie. And it was also the year Get Out came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, like there's so much that's possible in terms of like comedy and horror and black horror, and like I just wanted to tell a story about the ecological devastation of these old growth forests through the lens of a Black woman who, in the society that we live in, doesn't super feel welcome.
Yeah.
There's like that moment in movies where the villain is like, is this really the world you want to save? And I think that a white guy hero would be like, oh yeah, of course. But like, I'd have to think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Is this the world I really want to save? Not really.
Yeah.
And I wanted to write a story where a woman finds that she has more in common with a 1,000,000-year-old forest than the world that she lives in.
My God. Right?
Right? So I wanted to talk about all the stuff I was talking about in stand-up and all my scripts and stuff. And like, I was procrastinating rewrites on that feature. And then sort of like trying to figure out everyone's motivations, and the story kept getting bigger. And I was like, oh, like maybe it's a short story. And then it turned into 45 short stories in a row that are a book.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. Wow. Oh my God. Okay. So I was looking around on your website. Sorry, I'm nosy.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
I saw that you also do visual arts and voice acting. So what got you into those?
My mom and her dad were art teachers. I come from like a long line of artistic people, and artists who turned to teaching in order to pay for their art and then ended up teaching their whole careers. It happened. Yeah. And I was kind of forbidden from going into teaching, and just because like my mom was a public school teacher. She
Mm.
didn't want that for us, of like all of the like administrative and like regulatory rigmarole. And I've always drawn, been like an artistic person. And I think that like in learning how to write and like getting more involved in thinking about all of my creative output as art making,
Mm-hmm.
it made the jump from writing to drawing that much easier. Also, I was a story prod. Ava DuVernay was adapting the Wings of Fire middle grade book series.
Mm.
It's like about 5 little dragons that have a prophecy about them.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really cute, and it's like a great book series. And that's the thing that got me into all of this, because I was working under Vaughn Ross, who was the supervising director, and he was the head of story. He was such a great mentor. Like, he's a great artist, but he's also very good at explaining how different visuals serve a story and explaining process and like why things are important. And I just looked like it was a masterclass, just like listening to him talk and learning from him and seeing how storyboard artists like think about story in terms of like visual direction. And it really brought a lot of dimension to the stuff I was writing at the time. Was just like, oh yeah, people don't even, you read most books and it feels sort of like one of those like side by side, like a Mario video game where you're just following them
Mm-hmm.
at one thing. But I wanted a book where people like look up, look down, and like all of the full 360 degrees of experience that a character can have in a space, especially like in a story where the location and the setting is so important.
Yeah.
Like, it has to come from everywhere. It can't just be character floating through space as stuff happens to them. And the story department on that show that ultimately got canceled, but before we started, but I learned so much from them. It really opened up my eyes in terms of what's possible for storytelling and like how you can guide a viewer or reader's eye through a scene.
Wow.
And they were all such good drawers that I was like, well, if I start now, maybe I'll be good at some point.
Oh my goodness. I looked at your art and I really love it. It's so expressive.
Thank you.
Yes. I
Thank
got
you.
a really good like idea of who you are by looking at your art, and that's what you want.
Oh my God, thank you.
Of course.
That's so nice. That's the only thing I've been trying to do with it. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
of course.
Oh, and I got into voice acting because I was on the temp audio or the scratch record for that show. I was part of the cast for that, and I really loved doing it. And then one of the directors from Wings of Fire, she has an Adult Swim Smalls series called High Moon Queen. And she reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do it. I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I love doing silly voices. It's like, it feels like doing silly voices like feels like it's part of like the DNA of like where I come from. I'm from Western New York, where like Tom Kenny, who plays SpongeBob, and Bobcat Goldthwait are from there. And all of my friends and I growing up were just like doing voices to each other back and forth all the time. And it's something that came very naturally. And if somebody wants to pay me to do it, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'll fill a voice.
Yeah. Why not? What made you interested in working in comedy as well as horror? I know a lot of times they feel like polar opposites, but at the same time they kind of feel like two sides of the same coin. So how do you feel about it?
I was surprised by how easy the jump from comedy to horror was. It's almost the exact same thing. Like, the only difference is like whether the payoff is somebody dying or somebody falling.
Right. Oh.
Do they die or just get hurt? If they just get hurt, it's funny. But if they die, it's horror. I think Jordan Peele says the only difference between comedy and horror is the music. You could put like Boinky Benny Hill music over most horror movies and it would be pretty funny. If you know how to like structure a joke of like set up, punch, like create the expectation or the tension and then release it, then you know how to write horror gags and kills. I always think about them in terms of like, I'm a cartoon person. Everything is gags to me. Kills are a gag. Jokes are a gag. If it doesn't work on that sort of like nonverbal level, then it doesn't work as a gag for me.
Yeah.
So I want everything to like feel very visceral, but also be kind of funny. And it's such a good, like, especially when you're writing horror and like watching horror, reading horror, like a couple laughs along the way will give you so much. It helps a lot with pacing and setting expectations and just sort of like meeting your audience where they're at, especially in like a supernatural setting where you're asking them to suspend a lot of disbelief.
Right.
You need that one character that's like, wait, what the fuck? This is the murder forest? I don't want to go in there. Like, you need the audience surrogate to be like, hey, this is fucked up, or this is funny, or whatever. Like,
Speaking of Jordan Peele, when I was looking at your stuff, I got a very much Jordan Peele vibe, especially since you came from comedy and you went into horror. And there's a lot of just like of your blackness in there. And it brings up the interest of black horror, which we've seen a resurgence of it. I'm all for.
absolutely.
Absolutely. So what draws an audience, and you for that matter, to black horror or even eco horror?
I think in terms of black horror, like, it's authorship. There are very few like iconic black horror characters that people can name, and most of them were like written by white people, at least until like the 2000s. Yeah. And just being able to see, like, I like seeing us win, and it feels like a win when one of us gets to tell a story, no matter like how flawed or like unrelatable or whatever. Like, I'm just happy they got that money. Like, I'm like, I cried during A Wrinkle in Time, the movie, because I was just like, well, one, I was like, she's a biracial girl with a white dad. Oh no, like, too relatable. But also it's just like, they did a featurette at the beginning. It was like 7 minutes of just like, here's how hard we worked on this movie. And I was crying at that because I was just like, they gave Ava DuVernay $100 billion. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of us. Like, a win for one of us is a win for all of us. I think for black horror, the existence of black horror stories, like Sinners, like the existence of them is a win, but also when something is so obviously made by one of us and like it feels like it's made for the community instead of just like race swapping white characters without really changing anything. And like, you can tell when black people are written by white people, and it's like, I don't know, there's I want to be proud of us, and I want to like be excited, and I think that like whether it's like a white or a black person telling the story of a black character, that changes things a lot, because I don't think that a white writer would see the same things that, like, at least in Humboldt Cut, like, people are going to read this book and be like, oh my God, Jasmine's a villain. And it's like, is she? Because the world that we live in is kind of like, it's going to villainize people. It makes you feel like a monster. It makes you feel like you don't belong here. And I don't think that that's something that a white writer will really like, would clock or choose to center a story around. And for eco horror, like, it's crazy that as I started researching this, the images that I saw and the stories that I saw of like everything white people have done to us, they also did to the environment. And it was really hard to see images of like, to get trees down from, because they were cutting them like up on these mountains. And to get them down, they have to run these cables down the mountain and then put like a collar around the tree trunk to drag it down to the lumber yard, and seeing them sort of like hanging there.
Oh,
it's it's very like, I can't help but recognize the like visual parallels of our experience and what is being done to these trees, and like the way that like white supremacist extractive capitalism treats all of us like things.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of these things, like people, trees, the environment, like, it's all alive, and we're all part of the same thing. And I think that paralleling Black experience to what's been done to the environment is really important. The more that we realize that we have more in common with the environment and each other, and like any attempts to divide humans from the natural world or the world in general or each other, that's a tool of white supremacy. And it's like Nope, talking about like the way people treat animals, and the way Hollywood treats animals is the way they also treat Black people. The way capitalism treats Black people is still the way that they treat the environment. Like, all of these like really thematically resonant parallels are there if you just look. And every single ecosystem has some insane way that they're treating the environment that I see, and I can't help but like, oh my God, like, you know, like this diagram of a slave ship about shipping, and like those diagrams exist for any kind of chattel. And it's like, oh yeah, like it's all the same thing. Like it's the same impulse driving all of that. And I just creep myself out. It's just like,
no, I feel that
about this stuff, but it's also like the point of the book, so I have to talk about it.
No, I honestly I appreciate it because you're right. You're right. And I'm someone who I have environment-based anxiety. So like yeah, and it's very common. And like the fact that it's like a really warm, nice 70 whatever day today gives me such anxiety because it's January. Yeah, I have such anxiety. And the news is like, "Oh yeah, what beautiful weather we're having." I'm like, "No, it's supposed to be cold." What?
Yeah. I talked to my mom up in Western New York, and she's like, "We had a really nice winter." And I'm like, "That's bad.
That's bad.
Like, it should be winter."
Yeah.
We can't just not have winter anymore. Like the earth needs the cycles.
It does. And just the fact that like you bring up how much the environment has been destroyed and the parallels of how our ancestors have been treated. I feel like it's not discussed enough, honestly.
Me either, and that's part of the reason the book.
Yeah.
Because if you can believe it, people in Hollywood didn't really want to finance a movie. It was like, did you know that capitalism's bad?
What? I'm shocked. They didn't want that.
No, they were like, a movie about a black woman, pass. No, I don't.
Maybe if it was a Tyler Perry movie where she found church.
Exactly.
I'm not a fan of Tyler Perry.
I'm proud of him for getting that money.
Yes.
The end.
The end. Period. So, what does your daily routine look like?
There isn't really a daily routine. It's like get up, drink coffee, work, because I've sort of like committed myself. If I want to do my art the way I want to do it, I need a day job, and I need to have health insurance so I can have medication so I don't go insane. And there's a lot of messages out there about like what it means to be a real artist, and it's like you have to be suffering and you have to be living hand to mouth, and it's no. Like I work a day job, I work I'm a spreadsheet jockey, and I do that, and in between meetings, or like when I'm done with that, I write, and I love it, and I try to write an hour a day. And I also take a 2-hour nap every day. So there is a routine, but there isn't a routine, because like my work could call me at any minute, but also like the time's gonna pass regardless. So when you like force yourself to make the time for art making, it becomes that much easier. Because like I grew up playing sports and sort of like having practice after school every day. It's a great like routine to have. And like if a person can transfer that to art making, if you're doing art for 2 hours a day, like that's so much time and that's so much creative output, and like it really does make a difference.
Yeah.
But that said, it was mostly the pandemic of like not beating myself up about going out and doing stand-up anymore really let me focus on writing in a way that like I couldn't before. Because there was always like, if I was writing, I would feel guilty about like, oh, like I could spend an hour writing, or I could go to an open mic and like go work on some new material. And just like, part of it is choosing a lane, but part of it is just like focusing on the things that bring you joy.
Yeah.
And writing brings me more joy than stand-up does. And currently that may change. I'm open to pivot, but I'm trying to, just like keeping the routine going and just making myself write for an hour every day is the thing that's made the most difference in all of this.
And Do you have any support software or resources you would recommend for someone trying to break in or to use?
I write all my books on Google Docs, which I shouldn't, because I turned off the Gemini thing because it's supposed to be training, but I also I don't want to start learning a new writing software in the middle of trying to write a book.
Yeah.
Plus, Google Docs I can work on my phone, and I can work on it on this laptop or another laptop or anywhere I go. Like, I can just log in and work on it, and just being able to work on it whenever, wherever has been super important. I also use Evernote a lot for note taking. I use it a lot for stand up, and I use it for writing now. That's my number one tool. Evernote. I put everything in Evernote, and I love it. You can tag stuff, so then anytime, I think with notes apps, it's very easy to write a note and then forget about it. But if I tag it and then dedicate myself for part of the hour a day, at least one time a week, I'll go through all my admin stuff of let me click on the Humboldt Cut tab and tag and see all of the stuff I wrote this week and all the stuff I need to work on, and condense this into an actual action plan of how to approach edits or revisions or whatever.
Very nice. Yeah. That's that prod side of you right there.
Dude, yeah. Spreadsheet production brain. I wrote Humboldt Cut's outline is in a spreadsheet, and all of my books I outline in a spreadsheet first.
What? So. Oh my goodness. Hats off to you.
Proud I was still breaking down scripts into spreadsheet. Right. And I was well, if I already had the spreadsheet, then I would have the outline already. And oh, there we go. And color coding and ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh. I'm a spreadsheet. I love a spreadsheet.
Congratulations on your debut novel, Humboldt Cut. Woo!
Thank you.
Okay, so you already discussed a little bit about your book, but can you give us a little, without spoilers, no spoilers for anybody?
Yeah, no spoilers.
Is there any, a little bit more that you could say about your book, what it's about?
Sure. Well, it's about the redwood forests in Humboldt County, and what if it was trying to kill everybody that walked in there. And it follows a woman named Jasmine Bay, who she works as a psych nurse in an Oakland mental health facility. And she's got this sort of passive suicidal ideation all the time. And because the world that she lives in, she's going through it. Her godmother just died. No. She and her brother don't talk. And the world that she lives in is the world that we live in. And it fucking sucks. And it tells her that you don't belong here. And I've struggled with suicidal ideation and depression for almost my whole life. And it feels the sort of self-help or self-care resources aren't really made for us. Because you can't really power of positive thinking yourself out of a racist society. There's no psychological reframe that changes the material facts of the world that we live in. And it's a fucking bummer. So Jasmine is going through all of this. She goes up to Northern California to her predominantly white logging town, hometown, because her godmother died. And she's up there for the funeral. Her brother that she doesn't talk to has been organizing the funeral. And he and his wife, who is Jasmine's former best friend, he married his sister's best friend. God. And now they don't talk, and it's really messy. And Jasmine brings her situationship up with her because he's worried about her. He's I don't want you to drive off the road. Henry, her boyfriend, recognizes that there's something wrong with Jasmine, and he cares about her and so he's oh, I'll go up with you. And now he's just some fucking guy up there with all of these people that are mad at each other. And we entered a family situation like that where you're just cool. What can I talk about? Because he goes to the bar, and the bar is named after their grandfather that got killed by loggers because he was an eco-terrorist. And it's this very specific world that Jasmine is entering, which seems scary. And I don't know if you've been up to Humboldt County, but it's very aggressively chill. I would say.
Oh, then yeah, maybe I have. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like everybody grows weed, but they do meth, and like it's very like I don't know. I like it because it reminds me of Western New York a little bit.
Mm.
People are sort of like, especially coming from like the Bay Area or LA, it's nice to see people who are like big boned and feral and like not camera ready. And like when I started going up there to do like there's a great comedy scene up there. When I started doing stand up there, I was just like, I love this place. It's so weird. And there's like a static of danger under everything, but there's also these big, beautiful trees that like you cross the county line into Humboldt, and then all of a sudden there's just like a roof on the world. And it's so dark because the tree canopies start 150 feet up.
Wow.
You can't even see the sky anymore. And you're in that darkness, and you start to like lose like the saturation in your vision.
Right.
It's like there's so much green that things start to look like black and white because you've been in the dark forest for so long, even if you're just driving up the 101.
Oh, that's so freaky.
It's a freaky place, and I love it, and I'm just like happy that I get to share it with the world.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. So you talked about your inspiration that drew you into creating this book and your process of it finding its way as a book. Was there anything you wanted to add in regards to that?
I mean, I would recommend that other people not start with a spreadsheet, but if they wanted to, like, honestly, like just start now. If you have like a story in your heart, write it, because like the world needs stories, and the world needs our stories. Just like when I was doing stand up, a lot of times white audience members would come up to me afterwards and they'd be like, you made me feel bad for being white. And I'd be like, cool, bye.
It's not even about you, dude.
Right? But every once in a while, like there would be like a mixed race person that was like, thank you so much for just like being you and existing.
Aww.
And like that one person that I would run into one audience interaction like that every 3 months kept me going for like 10 years. The really magical thing about writing a book is that like the person who this book is written for maybe hasn't even been born yet. And it's like a book has such a longer shelf life than telling jokes at in a bar at 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday. Like there's a longer reach. And like during the pandemic, during 2020 was the first time I ever read Octavia Butler, and her work just blew my mind and completely changed the chemistry of my brain. And reading her work and thinking about like it changed the way I look at the world. And if there's something that's in your heart and you can tell it as a story, that a book can accomplish all of the things that like stand up or entertainment can't. Like it can teach empathy, it can change the way people see the world. And I think there's something so like magical and special about that. And TV shows can change the world too, but it's a much harder climb to get those made than it is to get a book written. And because like if you've written a movie script, you're already halfway to a book.
Yeah.
It's like 105 pages times 2, boom, that's a book.
Yeah.
And I just like I want more stories that we can resonate with. And like I'm listening to The Reformatory by Tananarive Due on audiobook right now, and it's just such a beautiful gothic horror, and it's terrifying and like real, and it's about there's like the Native American boarding schools, but they also did that for Black boys in the South in the 50s, and it's about one of those reformatories in Florida, in North Florida in 1950. And it's terrifying, and there's ghosts everywhere, and it's it's wonderful. It's everything you could possibly want from a book. And there's so many books like that, and I want more people to read and like get into them. And I don't want adaptation to be the end game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it doesn't need to be, not everything needs to be made into a movie. Like most of Octavia Butler's work is unadaptable. There's no way, because there's like aliens with tentacles all over them. And like, she has one about a vampire. It was her Fuck You Twilight book. And it's about a vampire that's a little black girl that looks like a 10-year-old black girl, even though she's like much older because she's a vampire. But it's just like, you could not adapt that.
No.
And there's something so powerful about that, about being unadaptable and like only being able to exist in this one way and being the guide of somebody's experience towards like becoming a more empathetic person. I think a lot of like Black movies or like movies for Hollywood movies are sort of like made for with the white gaze prioritized.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Black books just like, no. It's like you're sitting next to someone and they're telling you a story and it feels like it taps into something ancestral.
Yeah.
And I love books so much. I want everyone to read. I love books. That said, if someone wants to hire me to write a movie, I would totally do it. But
so what do you feel are the next steps in your journey?
oh gosh. I've got another book coming out in December.
Ooh.
It's called Dive. It's sci-fi horror fiction. It's a collection of stories of like sci-fi horror stories about Black punks in Oakland around a like iconic Oakland dive bar based on one that I used to bartend at for several years. And that comes out with Tenebris Press in early December. And then there's another book in the Humboldt Cut series coming out in a couple of years. And it's not announced yet, but I just want to write more books and write more stories and write stuff for like the weird little kid that's going to like the too serious child.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna grow up into, I don't know, someone who maybe writes more sicko shit, but like maybe they change the world or like I don't even know. I have all these stories I gotta get out of me. I'm full of stories. I gotta get them out. Books is the way that I'm doing it right now, but that could change. We'll see.
Lovely.
I'm just excited about the future and about what's next. Like whatever comes, I'm ready.
Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness.
Thanks.
Okay. Now is the time for rapid questions where I'll ask you a series of this or that. Okay, they're not this or that questions.
Ooh,
but
all right.
there are a bunch of questions and you're going to answer it as quickly as you can. Okay?
Okay.
Wonderful. No, that's stupid.
Read it. Read the stupid one. I love stupid shit.
All right. What sound does a seal make? There you go. That's a seal.
Exactly.
That's a seal. Toe to tip.
All right.
Yeah. Cake or pie?
Cake.
Favorite number?
15.
Why?
It's my birthday and I like it, and it's divisible by 3 and 5, and I also like 3 and 5. I have a system about what numbers are good numbers and which ones are bad numbers.
I have a system too with 12.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
12 is divisible by so many other good numbers.
Yeah. Hello there.
It's tizzy time. Let's do it.
Dawn or dusk?
Ooh. Dusk.
Lovely, lovely. A scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
Compared to other people in LA, I think I'm like a 7. I think I'm pretty good, but based on the way passengers act in my car, I think it's maybe like a 4.
Well, they know they're not driving.
People get scared and I'm driving my bags.
Oh, no. Do you have a favorite day of the week?
Ooh. Friday, I guess? Friday's fun.
Yeah, Friday's a good time. Last Halloween costume?
Fat skeleton. I was wearing a skeleton crop top and being fat, but also like a skeleton, you can't tell if they were fat. And
That's cute.
I think there's something very funny about the idea of a fat skeleton.
That's cute. I love it. And how many cups of coffee do you drink a day?
2 max. I can't do any more.
That's good. Good self-control.
Yeah, I want to spend my time writing and not on the potty, so.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And which animal adds more joy to the world, squirrels or llamas?
Ooh. Squirrels, because I love videos of people getting mad at squirrels on their bird feeder. Those always bring me joy. People get so mad, and it's like, you're the one that put nuts outside your house.
Yeah. That's for anyone, not just birds.
Yeah.
Like, I could go take some. I won't because I can't catch a case.
Llamas are also very sweet, and I like their whole vibe.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see enough llamas in my day-to-day life.
That's fair. That's fair. They're not just outside in LA.
Yeah.
I mean,
and one time my dog chased a squirrel up a tree.
oh.
Like a month after I got him. I didn't even know he could do that. He climbed 15 feet up in the
Oh
tree.
my God.
Chasing a squirrel, and I just had to like yell up at him, and that's always very funny.
Yeah, that's really funny. Pick a word that starts with the letter do S, and it can't be a name.
Ooh, susurration.
Oh my goodness, what does that mean?
That's like the sound of like wind going through leaves. It's like
That's beautiful.
very like, I love that word.
Yeah, me too. I've learned something today.
Yay! My work here is done. Word nerd activated.
Yay! We love them. Thank you so much, Allison, for speaking with us today. It's been a pleasure. Do you have any social media you would like to share with us?
This was so much fun. Thank you for having me. I'm at Allison Mick Makes Me Sick on TikTok, and Allison_Mick on Twitter and Instagram, and Allison Mick on Bluesky. Follow me, find out about the book. We're having a party on Thursday, January 29th at Village Well Books in Culver City. If you want to come to the launch party for Humboldt Cut, me and comedian Madison Shepard are going to be having a very like spoiler-free kiki about Humboldt Cut and all the things that we talked about here. We're going to be talking about them in front of an audience, and it's going to be wonderful.
Lovely. And if you're listening to this episode the day that it's airing, that is today.
Ooh, come to my party.
Come to the party. Have a good time.
Party in Culver City.
Yeah. And thank you, the listener, for tuning in. If you're interested in supporting Creating Color, please follow us on Instagram and YouTube, and tell your friends and family about us. If you're interested in following me, you could find me on Instagram and YouTube at Maybe It's Kaybe. Thanks to Namikaze for creating the ending theme. You can find more of his music on his SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Namikaze. That's NAMIKAZE. If you're interested in supporting Creating Color financially, consider a one-time or monthly donation through our PayPal or Ko-fi account, or Ko-fi. I don't know. It's ko-fi.com/creatingcolor. Links available via our link tree. Before we wrap up, do you have any departing words of wisdom for everyone listening?
Start your thing now. You're going to suck at first, but the time's going to pass regardless. And if the time passes and you're a little better than you were before, it's time well spent.
Well said.
Tell Black stories.
Yes, we need more.
We need more. Read Black stories. Read Humboldt Cut.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, and where can we purchase Humboldt Cut?
Ooh, you can get it on the internet at Barnes & Noble or penguinrandomhouse.com, or you can pre-order it at any independent bookstore of your choice. They can order it for you. And you can get your copies at Village Well in Culver City. They're getting a lot more copies because we're doing a signing.
Lovely. So convenient. Everyone should get a copy.
Do it.
Do it in a very non-threatening way. Do it.
Do it, please.
Please. Thank you so much. This has been Creating in Color. Keep striving, keep trying, keep creating. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank